Hi everybody, welcome to our April book club, and this month we're going to be talking about The One Thing by Gary Keller. And I want to say a shout out to all of my Keller Williams agents in Loudon Gateway in Ashburn, Virginia, where I live. I think I received 3 copies of this book just from them, and my first copy came from Nancy Yonner from the Yonner group. She and I have a lot of things in common, and she loves to read, so whenever we can swap good books, we do that. So she gave me this book a long time ago, and I didn't read it, and then I received another book from my business coach, Fabienne Fredrickson, and I didn't read it. And then my team said, why don't we read the One Thing book? And I said, that's such a great idea. I already have a couple of copies. So we embarked on this journey, and it's a very simple book, right? It's one thing and the power of that and what that can do to your life. And I absolutely loved this book. It was a very easy to read. It had some fun graphics. It had some highlights. Mr. Keller was graceful to give us some of his, notes and what he felt like we should get from the book. But this was a great book, and I am going to share just a few things that I really loved about this book with you. And the book starts off by saying, extraordinary results are directly determined by how narrow you can make your focus. And we live at times when everything is so busy, and we're consumed by information. We're on the phone, and our computers are dinging, and the doorbell is ringing, and some of us that may have multiple cell phones, one for work, one for personal. The neighbor is knocking on the door. So there's a lot of distraction coming at us, and it's really extremely hard to be focused. Corporate America is really struggling with that, because an average employee probably gets about a couple of hours worth of real solid work every day. And if you're not a person that can just really stay focused, you're going to have a hard time getting any work done. So we're working longer hours, we're working more often, we're working on the weekends, and our work-life balance is completely non-existent. So I like the idea of narrowing our focus and just really doing one thing to just really succeed. And he also talked about the domino effect, which I thought it was really cool. And I've experienced this over the years since I've been working with a business coach, is that I go to a quarterly meeting, we talk about lots of different topics, and then we pick, the 3 things we're going to work on. And normally they don't tend to be tiny little things, they tend to be convoluted projects, but those things then build on the next thing, and every quarter we are building on into the next thing. And over the years, those small or medium or large projects are built on into other things, and they really made a difference. And I have experienced that with my clients. The very first appointment we have with people is very anxious. There's a lot of anxiety. Everybody's like feeling on edge. Like I've just invited these maniacs people to come over and help me get organized, and now I have to let them in, and I have to let them see my stuff. And people feel a lot of anxiety about that because they think we're going to judge them, but we don't. If you looked around my office today, you probably think like, wow, she could use some help. Well, we're not judging you. We're just coming into your home to help you. But people, so they let us in, we help them, we make a little bit of progress, and then we leave. And then they call us again, and we make a little bit more progress, and then we leave. And then, they may make some progress on their own, or they may maintain what we have given them, or they may backslide a little bit. But then they call us again, and we make a little bit of progress. So there's always a forward momentum happening in people's lives. And that is really one key to success, right? You're building upon small steps to create something big, which is one day to be more organized. I liked that he said no one succeeds alone. And over the years, I have become really good at asking for help. Whenever I feel like my business is stuck somewhere, I get help, and I am famous for starting organizing projects and calling somebody on my team and saying, can you help me come over and finish it? Just because I always need a buddy now. I can't organize by myself anymore. And, you know, we all know I am pretty organized for the most part. So don't be afraid to ask for a buddy, right? It doesn't have to be a professional organizer. Maybe trade with your, you know, maybe trade with your sister or your best friend, or a mom, you know, down the block, somebody that needs to also be more organized, and maybe they can help you and you can help them, and you can have this collaboration where you are both focused on the one thing you're going to be working on, and you can both accomplish more by having this accountability where, you know, because I know you're coming and because I know I have an appointment with you, I am going to show up for myself. I'm going to turn my phone off. I'm going to put away my distractions. I'm going to not, you know, not chit chat with the neighbor when I go get the mail. I'm going to be here for the block of time that we have allotted to be organized, and we're going to do this, and we're going to get organized. And in, you know, in 4 hours when we're done, we're going to feel the burn and we're going to feel the pain, but we're going to look around and we're going to feel like, wow, look at all of the things that we accomplished in the time that we were together. So in the book, he mentions there are 6 lies that derail us from staying focused and accomplishing things. Honestly, I'm not going to tell you something that you already didn't know, right? The first one is that everything matters equally. And we all know that's not the truth. At any given day, we all have to read the mail, we all have to, you know, take out the trash, we all have to walk the dog, and we all have, like, there are a number of things that we're all responsible for doing because we are, you know, human beings living in a society that expects us to do things. But that doesn't mean that everything is equally important. And I've been reading another book that's the 80-20 rule, which is, you know, is a very common, it's a common practice around everywhere, that people know that 20% of your efforts will give you 80% of your results. And sometimes it's important to find that in your everyday life. Like, what are the 20% of things that you need to be focusing on that will give you 80% of your results? I sometimes work with clients, and you know, their entire homes may be a bit cluttered and messy, and we may minutely focus on, like, organizing junk drawers, right? I wouldn't consider that to be a 20% item that would give you 80% of the results. So sometimes if you find yourself getting really bogged down on some of these projects, take a broad look and wonder and consider it for yourself. Like, is this the project I should really be spending my time on? Is my time better spent getting rid of the things that I may have put here for now that are sitting in a spare bedroom or in a garage or in a basement? Like, could I free up space by breaking down all of the empty boxes that I've been saving just in case I may need them? Could I just spend, you know, a small amount of time getting rid of something from my closet and just really making an impact, instead of getting bogged down on the minute details of getting something accomplished, like getting a complete junk drawer organized? So everything is not equally important. Not everything matters. Multitasking is the worst thing that ever happened to us. We think, like, oh, I can talk on the phone, I can write emails, I can, you know, I can pay bills, I can. And the truth is that no, we cannot. The research has proven it time and time again that multitasking is the worst thing that can happen to us. Our frontal cortex cannot process multiple competing information. And anything that requires thinking is part of our frontal cortex. So stop multitasking. If you just took the time to read the text message, or to have that conversation, or to respond to that email individually, you would get that accomplished much quicker than if you try to do all 3 of them at the same time. Oh, having discipline. Having discipline is a really hard one. And I don't know, I may have to disagree with Keller on this one. Having discipline is hard, and I've learned that recently, where I gave up caffeine in January, and I wake up sometimes and I miss it, and sometimes I'm with people and I miss it, but I don't have it anymore. But in order to have that discipline, I had to find something else to replace it. So every day I have hot glass of water with lemon in it, and that to me has done the same thing as if I had coffee. So having discipline sometimes is like looking outside of what you think discipline needs to look like, and how can I adapt to have something different that may help me have, you know, just as much discipline as I need to be. Working out is still something on my list of things to do, just in case you're wondering. Willpower is always on will call. And I mean, that is definitely a hard one too, because our willpower doesn't come just like when we want it. Willpower is something that takes a lot of effort. He said willpower plus training will equal discipline. And I have to agree with that, because I see it in a lot of my clients that basically show up every single appointment. They suffer the pain through the process. They learn the lessons. They implement in between. And with time, they have developed really good discipline on how to be more organized. And I celebrate every one of you out there. A balanced life. Who wants a balanced life? I'm not very good at that. And, you know, nobody will tell you that I'm lying about that. But I found it really interesting that what he said is that it takes 66 days to develop a habit, and I have to agree with that. The previous research said that in 21 days you could develop a habit, and he's saying no, it takes a lot longer than that. I tend to agree with it. Sometimes I help people get organized, and it takes an extended amount of time before one day when they say, well, why don't we do it this way? And it's kind of like their interpretation, well, we have been working on all along. And what that tells me is that that has clicked into their brain. Now they're completely ingrained into the system that we have created for them. And now they're going to be much more organized successfully all by themselves. So, big is bad, and big is bad. I mean, break down everything into smaller chunks of projects, smaller chunks of time, smaller chunks of processing information. And once again, if you are not multitasking, you are much more likely to stay with the system and stay organized. At the end, he said, a balanced life is a life with purpose, meaning, and significance. And these are things that make it a successful life, in his opinion. So I wondered what having a balanced life means to you. So I'm going to challenge you to two things. I know it's really bad to give people two actions, but you can pick one of the two if you like. One is, tell us on the Facebook group, what does it mean to have a balanced life for you? And what does it look like for you on a daily basis, or on a weekly basis, or on a monthly basis to have a balanced life? And two, if you have been struggling with one of the 6 lies, which one is it, and how do you want to get unstuck from it? So share with us on the Facebook group so we can help you be supported on how you're going to stay focused on your one thing, and you're going to start eliminating some of these lies, and you're going to start getting more productive in your life. Anyway, this video was a little bit longer than our normal video, but I hope you enjoy it. I hope you'll read the book. It has a lot of information in there that will be really helpful. There's some graphs and some highlights. So I will see you next month. Thank you. Bye.